thoughts about that?
Well, it's too bad Powell's being very critical for an administration where we had record revenues and did a lot of good things on a budget that was less than we started with. Like 10% only agency to have a flat budget for
Now,
5 years.
now you succeeded Ray, right?
Yeah, Ray was near 9 years, 9 months for me, he and Baca. We've
Okay.
generated more money than him and Baca put together for our beneficiaries. The people we work for are the beneficiaries. The more critical he is, he's running off customers. He's running off business. Ray Powell had a reputation of being anti-business. I was in the legislature for 10 years in the Senate before that, before I took the land office. He had a reputation of being anti-business, and you don't have to take my word for it. Go visit with some of the businesses. Visit with some of the city and county governments. Visit with SunZia. Visit with some of the businesses trying to do business there now. He's got a reputation for anti-business. we want to change that because we work for our beneficiaries to generate money. And go talk to our beneficiaries instead of Ray Powell, because he can be criticized and just running off business. Go talk to our beneficiaries. Go talk to our school for the blind, school for the deaf, Albuquerque Public Schools. Go talk to them. We don't go tit for tat on all this stuff. Talk to some other people. And we just have very limited resources to manage our lands. And Ray Powell, he had 5 different leases, and I got them right here. 5 different trash. We started the campaign, "Don't Trash the Trust," because our trust lands were so trashed when I took office. We had to clean them up. And those are in Lee County, in Chavez County, Moriarty area, in Rio Rancho area on Highway 555 out there, in the Von Kane lease where they got livestock facilities built out of tires on Ray Powell administration. We don't want to go back and just criticize. We cleaned them up and took care of it. We put millions of dollars in Don't Trash the Trust and cleaned up thousands of acres, and that's what we want to do. For Ray Powell just to go after me is just all negative. That's all he is a negative person pushing a negative campaign so he can make it where I don't want to run against him in 3 years or something. So that needs to be. All that's doing is running off business. But his whole philosophy is different. When I took over, he had a 7-year-old lawsuit on a high wall out here by Velarde that we mined down, made over $500,000 for our trust, and at the same time took care of a 7-year-old lawsuit and took care of a dangerous high wall. He had a 9-year-old lawsuit he left for me on a Bogle sand and gravel and Cleachy case that we took care of that too. So there's a lot of cases that goes on after your administration. And we didn't sit there and criticize him. He also shut down the racetrack in Albuquerque. Get the racing on Montgomery. Reopened within 60 days. We weren't critical of him. We just went and got the job done, opened up for business, and made money for our beneficiaries who are really our bosses over there. It's too bad he's got to be so negative to run business off. He's anti-business and he wants to keep running off business, and that's a shame they've done that.
So you think this is a personal thing?
I think he's making it politically a lot, but he's trying to make it personal. I don't know why he can't do his job and just run a business. I'll tell you one reason. He doesn't show up to work. He's there probably 2 days a week at the most. And someone ought to run a record of his attendance of being at work. But I don't want to get into that. Ask the beneficiaries. Ask the business community how we did it. He started the planning development leases. He gave away the best piece of land we have in Albuquerque area. The developers are getting 80% of the profits from Mesa del Sol. When I took office, I let UNM renegotiate that lease and talk to them. They're getting about 15% of it now, and developers are only getting about 70%. We were getting 14%, our beneficiaries. He gave away 86%. But it's a different philosophy. He would rather litigate, and as I tell you about litigation, than negotiate. With the tire disposal, we had a company. We were the ones that found that. We're the ones that found it. They were putting tires out there on his watch. We found it, went to the environmental department to say what we need to do. The environmental department has the ultimate say on it, not us at the land office, because we don't have that expertise. We wanted to bail those tires, bail them, and recycle them. We wanted to recycle them. Powell stepped in here and suing them now, kicked them off there, won't let them do anything with it to reclaim it, which is a shame. He's sued 12 oil and gas companies, New Mexico companies. We didn't sue them. We negotiated with them. Every time he hires an attorney, if we negotiate for some settlement of a certain amount of money, a third of it goes to the slick trial attorneys. But he would rather negotiate Powell would rather litigate than negotiate, which is which is a shame. So that just costs you money. Same thing with this down here. We discovered the chicken manure. We were in the process of notifying people, working with the environmental department, and we ran out of time being in office the last year. So we didn't just. We were hoping he would clean. We were working on a process to clean that up. I didn't know anything about it. This was handled. We have one person handling millions of acres. We only have 7 DRMs or 8 DRMs around. But we've done a lot of good things there. We were the one that brought Union Pacific to New Mexico. We're the ones that did the land exchange for the Lucy Ranch for wind power. We started the 4 wind leases out there. We did biomass leases to make it better habitat for wildlife. And we've done we got the sand ranch to try to negotiate the lizard being listed as endangered. So we did a lot of work in 8 years there. We want to give you a lot of what we have here. I want to send it with you so if you have any questions.
Mm-hmm.
But we feel like just being critical is just the wrong thing to do. You need to go in there and do your job rather than not show up to work as he does. And you need to run attendance on him, find out when he's there, talk to the business community, and also talk to our beneficiaries. That'd be the best people to talk to on it.
Mm-hmm. So the chicken manure thing, that's true. That because I took a look at the documents, that the initial field reports came while you were in office.
That's right.
But Ray says that on your last day of office that you wrote a note on the tire thing saying this is a good example of soil erosion. And in his words, I mean, I don't want to, again, I don't want to get into tit for tat like you mentioned, but in the interest of fairness, though, he was saying that was nonsense. And so
we wrote a letter to avoid the litigation. We were in the process of working with him on some of the leaves, some of the tires there for environmental erosion control. He's working with NRCS, National Resource Conservation Service, and with the environmental department. We were working with all those people because we're not having final say. And also we wanted to work on recycling some of the tires and bale them. That's what we wanted to do. We left that letter there to try to avoid a lawsuit and get something done rather than taking over 7- and 9-year-old lawsuits that we have, which is all Ray Powell's going to get into as a big lawsuit. Probably going to go to district court, appeals court, Supreme Court.
mm-hmm.
And we'd rather negotiate and recycle rather than litigate, and that's what we were working on.
Just to play the role of devil's advocate, though, I mean, if someone's going to say, oh, they see the Channel 13 story about the tires, they see the chicken manure thing, I mean, what would you say to some people that say maybe that reflects poorly on your tenure while you were at the land office?
I would say that we have very limited resources to work with out there. Depend on it. We discovered those things. The tires were put out there on the Ray Powell's administration. Did he discover them and do anything? No, we did. We just showed you 4 instances of trash in their trust lands, and here's the best one right here that shows what the trash looked like when I found it in '03. Here's how we cleaned it up. There's our Ray Powell after he cleaned it up. We got 5 instances of that of Ray Powell. So does that show a trend with Ray Powell? It shows a trend that he didn't do anything and he gave away our trust lands. But why do you want to go tit for tat? He just wants to be critical and run off business. The more negativity you have with the land office, the less business you're going to do, the less money you're going to make. He's anti-business enough already. Now just to run a negative campaign, too bad he's got to get into that. He ought to move on and get things done and make money for our beneficiaries.
That's all the questions I got, Pat. Anything else you want to say?
I just hope some of the other press picks this up and you get it out, because it's time that we're going to start attacking Ray Powell. If that's all he wants to do, we're going to go after him for someone that, it's going to hurt our beneficiaries. In the long run, our beneficiaries, education gets hurt with less money when a time we need more money.
All right. Thank you very much. Pat
Okay.
Lyons, thanks. And you've always